MDOT presents the Extra Mile Podcast.
Welcome into another edition of the Extra Mile Podcast presented by the Mississippi Department of Transportation. I'm Paul Catul, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Will Kraft. And today, we are planning on putting a bow, wrapping up the 2025 legislative session that actually is not done yet, and also just catching up with some other topics with none other than MDOT Executive Director Brad White. Brad, thank you so much, as always, for coming in and speaking with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
For sure. So we just mentioned it, the 2025 session, legislative session, for a lot of purposes is kind of wrapped. I know we still don't have a budget, but what happened when it came to MDOT and our funding? A big deal.
Well, the good news is this was the first time since 1987 that the legislature was willing to adjust the fuel tax, which is our main source of revenue. And the bill that the governor signed into law will increase fuel tax 3 cents every year for the next 3 years. And then it has a component in it that every other year will go up a cent to adjust for inflation purposes. So ultimately, we'll end up with about $160 million additional recurring revenue, which has been something we've been looking for a long time. We presented a lot of other ideas that wouldn't have required a tax increase, but with the policy position being we're going to eliminate the state income tax, they knew they had to create another revenue stream, and so they just stuck with the good old fuel tax. So this is something people like Dick Hall fought for 20 years to try to get the legislature to do. So it was pretty monumental that they did this because, like I said, it's been since 1987, this is the first time that revenue stream's been adjusted. So that part was good. The negative part was we, along with every other state agency, failed to get a budget passed. So we're waiting on the governor to call a special session with hopes of having a budget. All the conversation we're having is that we'll have a clean, earmark-free appropriation for our special funds. Hopefully we'll have some supplemental funds in it that will help us with other needs that we have, and we're just waiting on the governor to call the session and see what happens.
Awesome. Talking about the new money, sort of quote unquote, if you will, there, our new funding stream. I think a lot of questions I've already heard. What's the plan for this new money? And that plan already exists, right?
Yeah, I mean the first year you're not going to collect a whole 12 months worth, so we'll have about 11 months worth, and you're looking probably about $40-something million by the time everything's said and done. And what we want to do with that is, we've been a kind of a victim of our own success. We've been successful in moving salaries for the last 4 years agency-wide, but that's also caused our maintenance funds to take a hit because all the money that for the maintenance employees around the state, which is a big group of people, comes out of that maintenance money for the districts. So I think the first thing we want to do is replenish that money and make our maintenance funds whole, and then do things that the taxpayers will have an immediate reaction to, that they'll see. We want to make sure that the signs around the state are in good quality that people can read and see and utilize. We want to be sure that we've got our highways out in rural areas properly striped. We want to be sure that we're mowing the highways and doing litter pickup in a efficient and effective manner. So I expect that's where you'll see the early part of this money go. Now, once we get into the second and third year and we have real money coming in, the good news is all of that's going to be tied to our 3-year plan, and you'll see a lot more work being done in the rehabilitation of our highways, possibly some new construction paid for with that. But at the very minimum, this will allow us to keep the capacity program alive, and it'll allow us to take care of our highways in a better way than we've been able to in the past.
That's great. Yeah, sort of piggyback off that just a little bit, specifically the funding element there. We have a lot of funds that come from the federal government. Have you started hearing any things about that reauthorization? Conversations
have started in Washington about that. As you know, about 53% of our budget comes from federal money that we have to utilize. Lucky for us, Senator Wicker is one of the senior members of the EPW committee in the Senate, which authorizes Federal Highway to do work. At the beginning of this current reauthorization, he was successful in getting an extra $1 billion in that reauthorization for Mississippi, which was about $200 million more a year than what we've had. Fortunately for us, the legislature was kind enough to give us the $40 million a year that was required in state money to draw that extra federal money down. So we're hoping that Senator Wicker will be able to secure additional funds for us, or at least keep it at level funding over the next 5 years, and I think we'll be in good shape with that.
Wow, time really flies. I feel like it was just yesterday you were in here explaining the IIJA,
Yeah.
and we're already ready to reauthorize it.
Crazy.
Listen, lots going on in the funding world, lots of good news. Little sad news. Former Northern Transportation Commissioner Zach Stewart recently passed away. I know he did a lot of great things for the state, a lot of great things for the Northern District. Would you like to say a few words about him?
Yeah, he was commissioner when I first came to work at MDOT in the late 90s. Commissioner Stewart was a visionary. He was on the commission when the 87 four-lane program was put together and passed. He oversaw a lot of the construction of those four-lane highways up in North Mississippi. He was a very intelligent man, very quick-witted. When I think back of the commission in those days, when I first came to work here, you had Zach Stewart, Dick Hall, and Wayne Brown. Wayne Brown was a civil engineer, had worked with counties on work. Dick Hall had been a businessman, business owner in the private sector, but also a leader in the legislature for 24 years. And then Commissioner Stewart had a lot of institutional knowledge, having served on the commission at that time as one of the longest-serving commissioners we had had. It was a very strong commission, full of a lot of intelligence and a lot of forward-thinking men. He really left a mark on the department and on the state as a whole. So he had a good long life, but he left behind quite a legacy.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure.
Absolutely. And lots of contributions that we will certainly remember and continue to see the benefits of these days. Sort of keeping in that same line of honoring those from our history here and that have met, they're gone to glory, so to speak. Work Zone Awareness Week coming up next week, and a fallen worker ceremony. Would you like to speak on that just a little bit?
Well, it's one of those events that are, while it's special, and what I'm about to say I don't mean to take away from it, is an event that you wish we didn't have to have.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of our workers that are doing their work every day on behalf of the taxpayers of Mississippi, they're also doing it in very dangerous situations where traffic is moving all around them. And over the years, we've lost some of our team to reckless driving and people just not slowing down in the work zone, not watching what they're doing, and we've had a lot of loss of life over the years needlessly. And even beyond that, we've also had people that have lost limbs that have been hurt. That luckily they didn't lose their life, but they've still been hurt. So the whole purpose of this is to try to draw attention statewide to the fact that a lot of our individuals, a lot of our teammates, that their office, if you will, is right in the middle of where people are driving every day. And they're there trying to serve the motoring public. They're there trying to make our state a better place. They're providing this core function of government. And we hope that all the conversation that we're going to have through Work Zone Awareness Week makes the driving public recognize that we have people out there. There's somebody's mama and daddy or son or brother or sister that are out in these work zones, and we need people to take heed and recognize that they're there and to try to drive appropriately through that. But it's a moment where we all pause and just remember these members of the MDOT family that unfortunately are no longer with us, and just pay honor to them, and to remind their family that we still remember them, they still have a place in the MDOT family, and that we care. So.
No doubt about that. And please, folks, put the phone down. That text message, phone call can always wait. Slow down. You can really help save lives. So we'll transition. This is kind of a weird thing. So we were sitting here the other day, and all of a sudden the phone started ringing off the hooks. We get some calls in public affairs, but 50 in 1 hour. So some crazy person has this toll scam where they are soliciting, or they're sending text messages, phone calls to Mississippians. It's actually a nationwide thing, asking you to pay a fee for a toll, and in Mississippi those don't even exist. We have no
toll roads. We have no toll roads. We had members of the legislature receive that text. I received that text. And the bad thing is people think, well, did I miss something? Do I really owe this? And they want to pay it. Fortunately, we had some of our leadership that was willing to call and ask, is this legitimate? Because it listed MDOT in the text. And fortunately, we were able to know immediately that this was a scam because we have no toll roads. I mean, it just doesn't exist in Mississippi. So I talked with Commissioner Sean Tyndall. They were receiving these same calls at the Department of Public Safety. Luckily, of course, Commissioner Tyndall and his team were willing to partner with us to put a lot of stuff out on social media and try to make sure everyone got the message that if you receive this text, delete it, block the number, ignore it. It's just a scam trying to look for people to pay something they don't really owe.
No doubt. It's crazy. They took our website and it looks like an exact replica. I don't even want to think about the number of people that probably,
Right.
gullible people that actually fell for it and put their credit card info in. But just to reiterate, please don't. It is a scam.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay away from it. Yeah, always second guess something showing up randomly asking for money. Usually my policy anyway.
Right, mine too.
Well, moving right along from that just a bit there, do again, be aware, folks that are listening out there, if you go to our website, it's sort of the head page or at the head of the banner, at the top of the page there, that it's a scam, and you can see some of the images that we've gotten. But moving on a little bit from that, another thing that we sort of always deal with, trash and litter around the state, but it's the time of year that MDOT's doing our trash bash, and so employees getting out picking up trash. Want to speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, I appreciate all of our folks that get out and do that. I mean, we spend several $1 million a year trying to keep trash off of our roadways. Even out here on I-55 in Jackson, we can have our mowers come up, they pick up the trash first, then they mow, and it's like the next day, it's as if they never picked up anything because the trash just comes right back. I don't understand it. I mean, people should take more pride in their community than what it seems like they do. But it's a never-ending battle. But fortunately, we've got a lot of employees that enjoy getting out and doing what I consider to be real charity work on behalf of the people of Mississippi. So I appreciate what they do. But it's frustrating to see that kind of debris and all. I mean, yesterday I was driving down 55 going to the stack, and there was a chair, a gigantic chair, just sitting in the middle of the interstate that somebody just let fall off their truck, I guess, and then never bothered to pick it up. I mean, not only is it litter and an eyesore, but I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, somebody could hit it and you could have a lot of problems there. But anyway, that's something that we deal with, and we've dealt with it as long as I've been around MDOT, and I guess we'll continue doing it, but we can't lighten up on it.
Yeah. Shout out to those out there taking care of our litter and picking up on that. Shame on you if you're the one putting it out there.
Absolutely. Shame on you, for sure. Hey, listen, more to come on this, but I don't know how many people have kept up with this, but the 20th anniversary of Katrina is this August. Time flies, like we said, and that is coming up. So MDOT had a lot to do with it. You want to speak on the 20th anniversary?
I hope we can have Governor Barber back to talk about it because he tells a story that I really appreciate. Our first responders are our maintenance forces around the state. They're always the ones when weather is at its worst, they're out, away from their families, away from their own homes, trying to keep the roads open and trying to keep people safe and trying to keep it to where other first responders, the police, fire trucks, ambulances can get through. And Haley tells a story about Katrina after the aftermath of Katrina when the National Guard had been mobilized, the Highway Patrol, and everyone was heading south to help the people of South Mississippi who had been devastated by the effects of the storm, that in front of the National Guard and in front of the Highway Patrol was the MDOT maintenance forces that were going down 49 Highway with bulldozers and chainsaws clearing the way to make sure that the other first responders could get down there and lead the way in delivering help to those that needed it. And so in every sense of the word, it was our MDOT maintenance forces that were the tip of the spear. And I don't think they get enough credit for the type of work that they do, whether it be tornado, hurricane, regard flooding, whatever it is. Our folks are out there, oftentimes neglecting the damage being done to their own homes so they can take care of the public roadways for folks. So it's a time that you look back on Katrina and the devastation, but it's also a time that you saw Mississippi at its best. When our people stood up, they went to work to help one another, and we rebuilt. We didn't wait around on anybody to come to our aid. We helped one another, and the Department of Transportation was a major part of that in just opening up the roads where everybody else could get the needed help down there, and that's something that I think our folks could be very proud of, that's a wonderful legacy that we play in remembering of Katrina.
Absolutely, for sure. And just on that note, hurricanes, so we are the MDOT Public Affairs, a member of the Public Relations Association of Mississippi. And just this past week, we have a hurricane evacuation campaign and that Anna Ergot heads up and some others work on as well. And it won Best of Show out of all the campaigns in the state of Mississippi for the year. So just want to shout out Anna and Emily Gilmore and some others on the team that do that, and more to come on the hurricane evacuation campaign. It's always a good idea to be prepared.
That's great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. A bit of an emotional roller coaster here, this podcast. We've talked about good stuff and some unfortunate things and some highs and lows, but sort of to wrap it up here, we always ask about food and music, and you're certainly no stranger to the show here, so we want to change it up just a little bit for you. And you got to do a little thinking this morning, but just something fun, maybe just a trip, some stuff with kids and family or whatever, something fun you've done lately.
I know this makes me probably the most boring person at the department, but there is nothing I love better than being able to go home and get on my back porch and cut on the television and smoke a good cigar and just enjoy being outside and in the backyard. We've got 2 German Shepherds that are always keeping us good company, and it doesn't take a lot for me to be happy. And to me, that's the most peaceful, the most fun thing that I get to do is just be home and enjoy the backyard and our pets and family and just kind of be.
Absolutely. Couldn't resonate with that anymore. Finally, we're getting a little bit of weather where we can get outside. Spring is finally around. Now I'm just ready for the weather to decide. Are we going to be cold in the morning or hot all day? Which way are we going here?
It'll be hot soon enough.
Yeah.
So.
Count my blessings. That's right.
No doubt about it. Well, that R&R is much deserved after a very successful legislative session. Brad, Will, I know you all put in a lot of work, others at the department, so good deal wrapping up the 2025 session. Brad, thank you for coming in and joining us.
Absolutely.
Sir. All right. We want to thank our listeners, our viewers for tuning into the Extra Mile podcast. You can watch and listen to episodes by visiting gomdot.com/The Extra Mile. Follow us on social media at Mississippi DOT is the handle. We want to thank our editor, our producer, Drew Hall, for holding things down behind the scenes. And remember to drive smart out there on Mississippi highways.